this World Series Friday. I don't like either of the teams. We do like Dusty Baker.
Yeah, we do.
Del Campo's Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
Carmichael's Dusty
He'll be
Baker.
at Kings game soon.
Yes, he will. Joining us right now, the one, the only, the lovely, the talented Sean Salisbury. Good morning, brother.
What's happening, guys?
How crazy is it out there with the, you and I talked about this before, Sean, because football rules Texas, and it seems like the Rockets and Astros, people love them, but they take a back seat. Are the Astros, because the Texans aren't great, are the Astros the talk of the town even now?
No, the Astros, I've lived here 9 years now, and for about 7 of it, it's a football state. It's been an Astros town for 6 years.
Gotcha, okay.
And it goes Astros, Texans, Rockets in that order. Now, obviously, as a football state, if the Texans were a consistent winner and the city trusted the ownership like they do Jim Crane and Tillman Fertitta, but Astros clearly a baseball town because they win and they trust the culture and everything that Jim Crane does. They don't trust the McNair family. While it wants to be a football city, just like it is a football state, it is clearly, and it's probably right now not close, an Astros town. And you mentioned about, is it going crazy? You know the crescendo is going to happen when this series starts, and I think this city and the Astros know how good Philadelphia is. But I'm going to tell you something. It sounds arrogant, Dave. As a fan base, they expected to be here.
Yeah,
they didn't think the Yankees, as a fan base with the matchup, swing and miss with the Yankees and the way the Astros put the ball in play and the overall from 1 through 13 as good a pitching staff there's been. They didn't feel this city. It was almost, and I don't want to say a yawner, and it turned into a yawner. This team didn't give the Yankees much chance to beat them, meaning the fan base. They expected to be here. Now it's the next step for sure.
Yeah, and Sean, again, all guests come to you from Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. They got to close the deal, too, because they had such a great year, and they're the favorites. They've got home field. Like, this has got to end up with a parade for these guys.
No question, and the path has not been in this postseason. Think about it. Big boppers like Toronto got eliminated. The Yankees, they took care of them. The Dodgers got taken care of the Padres. Then the Padres get beat, obviously, by this team in Philadelphia. Tampa, who's been a thorn in their side in the past, was eliminated. They now have the number one, they're the home field advantage, as you mentioned. They're healthy. Every single thing that could happen has aligned for them, but it won't matter if they don't close it out. You get a hot team that's got swagger and a guy who's got like Reggie Jackson-like feel in Bryce Harper. We know what Schwarber's done, the front wheeler, and Nola at the front of the rotation. There is no question this is dangerous, and a passionate fan base. It's going to be a hell of a series. But, yeah, it won't matter. It will not matter if they get there and don't close it out. This is all or nothing because Dusty, who I couldn't pull for a guy more to win a World Series ring and cap off a Hall of Fame career, Dusty Baker needs this one, and so do the Astros, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Sean Salisbury with us. All right, the good news is Christian McCaffrey returns home to where his dad used to play, one of the places to where he went to school in Stanford, and he looked pretty darn good for a guy who'd been off the plane for about 5 minutes. The bad news is the Chiefs took the 49ers soul from them on Sunday in front of their home fans. Sean, are the Niners, is that an accurate final score there, or are you still high at all on the Niners considering their injuries?
I think the NFC West is an average at best conference, and I know Seattle's playing better than any of them and getting, quite frankly, the most consistent quarterback play.
Yeah.
But I still think one team now the Rams may find their way. I think the 49ers are the best team, but there's always something. I feel like it's Groundhog Day every year. You guys know they'll mess around and then may win 4 straight. They get into the playoffs and then they go deep.
Yeah.
But they got to close it out. So I was alarmed by the statistic, and I don't know if you guys saw it. Do you know Kyle Shanahan, since he's been the coach in San Francisco? Do you know when they have a 3-point deficit or more in the fourth quarter, they are 1-30?
Wow.
They are 1-30 when they are down 3 points or more, which tells me that if they don't have a lead, you can stick a fork in them. Well, injuries, I know they're coming back. I don't want to hear the excuses. Jimmy can't throw red zone. He can throw red zone picks against the Texans. You can't throw red zone picks against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Eagles are the clear. There is the major gap between the rest. I don't know if that score is indicative. I don't know if they're much better. knows Buffalo. We'll see if the Eagles can continue this. They're the best team in the NFC. And then you got the Vikings and the Cowboys and the Giants in the next layer, and maybe the 49ers. I still think the 49ers will win the division. I think when they get healthy, their defense, who's gave up 500-plus yards to Mahomes, but he's the aberration because he's a freak. And with McCaffrey, it's going to be incumbent upon Kyle Shanahan to keep he and Deebo Samuel on the field 60 of the 70 snaps they're on, to devise ways to get them the ball in space and to get out of your comfort zone, put them both at running back, stick them both in the slot, motion them. They've got to get awfully creative, even more so than they've ever been, to get those guys the touches. If there's not 40 touches a game between Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey alone, or at least targets and touches, then I've got a real problem with the way they go about it. I still think they're the best team in the West.
Sean, if you were running things for the 49ers, would you have done that deal to get McCaffrey? It's going to cost them some future picks.
And this is not a pat on the back, but for a month on my show, we were talking about trade deadline and stars that could move. And a few weeks ago, I went on in San Francisco and I told those guys, I said, keep an eye on if the 49ers with all these injuries, we get so spoiled with that running game, we think that you could just plug any warm body in there and they'll be great. Now, it's proven that seems to be the case, but at some point in time, talent does matter, and it matters a lot, and McCaffrey's different than any back they've had in a long time there. So with this, I said I'd give up a second, a fourth, or a fifth. They gave up more than I thought they would, but I said it for 3 weeks, and then I went on there, and the hosts didn't buy it. They said, well, maybe. And then the next week they said, And then the last week they said, ooh, there seems to be steam gain. And I said, if they're smart, they'll pull it off. And that was before we knew what they were going to have to give up. I would not have given up a one. I would have given up those assets. Here's why. The Rams did it last year and the year before, and they got a ring, and the ring is worth it. And the 49ers feel like that's who they are now, that they're a player or two away and health away. McCaffrey gives them a whole different look and another dynamic that Jimmy needs and the team needs. I would have pulled it off even for the price they paid. Somewhat steep, but McCaffrey's talented, and if you can win a ring and then have to suffer for 2 years, oh, well, I'll deal with it.
Sean Salisbury with us. You know, it's interesting because Kyle Shanahan's dad drafted Terrell Davis, Olandis Gary, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis, and Alf Morris, who all went over 1,000 yards. I was looking at this earlier, their rookie season. Here's my question for you, though, especially based on that Shanahan stat you threw out. I wonder this every so often, Sean. Is Kyle Shanahan a wonderful coordinator / average head coach, or do you think he can cut it as a head coach long-term in this league?
Well, anytime you tell me a coach has been in the NFC Championship game 2 of the last 3 years as a head coach, I got to believe he can coach. I've seen enough evidence, analytics, metrics, whatever it is people want to call it, and trends that tell me, oh, he's good enough to be a head coach, and he's good enough to take you deep, and he's good enough to get you there. Now, I've also seen evidence as a coordinator and a head coach that something's missing late in games that are huge, that matter. Super Bowl as a coordinator, Super Bowl as a head coach, NFC Championship game. And it's not just him. Hell, we got to hold the players accountable too. They're the ones who tackle and block. But something in the culture of being behind in the fourth quarter, wherever that runs has got to change. So I do get why people would question, can he close it out? Is he just a setup guy? But nobody's going to tell me Kyle doesn't know football, and sure as hell nobody's going to tell me that he can't coach and it isn't worthy head coach and being in a long time. But like all coaches that keep winning but don't close out the big one, we dogged Andy Reid forever. I mean, we didn't dog, but people said great coach, but man, he just can't win the big one. Well, Dusty Baker's that guy now, Hall of Fame coach, who's waiting on that obvious ring for him. Andy Reid was that guy for a long time and got it. Now he's a threat every year. Kyle Shanahan's a hell of a coach, but I understand the questions over who are you the fourth quarter and in late in games that are single elimination as opposed to 3 quarters or games that you win during the regular season. That's fair evaluation and fair questions on Kyle Shanahan. I know he can coach, and now he's got a world he's got a wealth of riches when it comes to McCaffrey and Deebo and Kittle and Ayuk. They've got some players. Now it's time to step the game up, and the quarterback's got to rise up too.
That's Sean Salisbury. You hear him each and every Tuesday right here at 8:13. Maybe he, no disrespect, God rest his soul, maybe he's Marty Schottenheimer. That was the same knock, right, Sean?
Very well, and you know what? Marty Schottenheimer, one of the great coaches of all time.
Yeah.
But yes, didn't get that one. You are exactly right. And his dad was a hell of a coach, meaning Kyle's dad. So it could end up that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like a quarterback. We think they all got to be Mahomes to be great.
Right.
No, you can actually be a really good quarterback and not win a championship. Dan Marino knows something about that. So could happen, but I know Kyle doesn't want to walk away without a ring on his finger as a head coach.
You're the best, my man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.